Welcome back to the We Are City channel for our second episode of our series here, the Manchester City Career Mode reboot on FC24. Now, of course, in the previous episode, we went through everything you guys can expect in this series. And in today's episode, we are going to introduce you to the squad for the season. The squad that we're currently going into with, which is the current one. Of course, the transfer window is open and changes could be made. Starting off with the goalkeepers, we've got number 33, a 38-year-old Scott Carson, 74 rated. I've given him a big upgrade so he doesn't retire. He's obviously not going to play any games for us, but we want to try and keep him around for the full career mode if we can, and hope that Scott Carson never retires in this series as long as it goes on, really. That is the plan. First two goalkeepers, our main two goalkeepers, are Stefan Ortega Moreno, recently signed a new contract with City, 82 rated, he's been upgraded. The goalkeeper, he is going to be number 1 or number 2 at Manchester City. He's going to be number 2 this season, the number 18. He won't be the main man, and he will be behind a man who looks to be staying at City now. Had big interest from Al Nassr, but Ederson is staying at Manchester City, and one of our roles in this series will be to tie the Brazilian down to a new contract if possible. If not, then he will be sold to Saudi maybe next season if we can't get him down to a new contract. 88 rated, the Brazilian, key player, and he is massive to this Manchester City side. On to our fullbacks, we've got 2 left-backs currently in the squad. Of course, Sergio Gomez has left Manchester City to join Real Sociedad. We'll look into that afterwards. So Joško Vardiel is the only starting 11 left-back we currently have. Can play left-back or centre-back, and he loves playing left-back under Pep Guardiola. He's really developed into that role. 83 rated, the Croatian, and he is going to be key for us this season. A player that we saw in pre-season is Joshua Wilson-Esbrand, 68 rated, the 20-year-old. I think a loan is probably on course for him. He is on the loan list, and we will look towards bringing in perhaps a younger fullback somewhere to play along in the fullback positions, because we do have issues with fullback. Of course, all the transfer tags and so on will be in the next episode. We can talk about that as well. Centre-backs wise, we're pretty stacked centre-backs wise, and there's nothing to worry about. We've got an 86 rated John Stones, who can play centre-back, right-back or hold in midfield. A very versatile player that is a key player for Manchester City 2 seasons ago. In the treble season, he was key to Manchester City. Unfortunately, last year, injuries really hampered his season. We're hoping to keep John Stones fit. And if you keep John Stones fit, Manchester City are in a very good situation. Our other player is Nathan Ake. He can play on the left-hand side as a left-back or a left-side centre-back. 85 rated. We give him a big upgrade because he's probably one of the best centre-backs in Europe. Heavily underrated. And he is going to be key for us this season and for the future of City, despite being the latter stages of 20 now. He's so good. And the same goes for Manu Akanji. I think another one was absolutely fantastic at the Euros. And I think those guys will step up for us this season in this career mode. 85 rated Manu Akanji will be going absolutely nowhere. And him and Ake, Stones, and the man I'm going to mention next are massive to our side, because the other centre-back we've got is a leader of men in Ruben Diaz. He could be a shout for captain this season. Of course, Kyle Walker currently Manchester City's captain, but maybe in this career mode we decide that we let the players vote and we change things who should be the captain of the club going into next season. 26 years of age, 27 years of age now, 87 rated Ruben Diaz. We've downgraded him a little bit because I don't think he had his best season last year. I don't think he's one of the best centre-backs in Europe at times, but he will develop across this series anyway. That's nothing to worry about. A player we're looking to loan out who's played in the pre-season is Gerald Katongo. Looking to try and move him on loan if we can do. A big loan move for him somewhere to develop. 70 rated at 18, 19 years of age. I think he's got a big future ahead of him at Manchester City, and we will go through some of the loan players after this one in the squad. As for right back, we've got Kyle Walker, 33 now. Kyle Walker, he's getting on, isn't it? He's certainly slowing down, and things for Kyle just aren't the same as they once were. And that is something that maybe in this series we do need to talk and look into in terms of transfer targets, because Kyle Walker is not getting any younger. At 33 years of age, City are lacking in the right back situation, and maybe even this summer we see a Saudi club come in for him and we say, you know what, for 10-15 million we let Kyle go and we go into the market. Another right back in the squad is Joao Cancelo. He is on the transfer list. He will not be playing for Manchester City, and in due course he will not be playing for us in this series at all. We'll look to sell him to Barcelona, to Saudi Arabia, somewhere, just get a bit of money to Joao Cancelo and move him on away from the club. And it seems to be the same for Jan Couto, 80 rated. Will he go out on loan? Will he make a permanent move to Borussia Dortmund, who are heavily linked with him, to Bayer Leverkusen to replace Jeremy Frimpong? We are looking that perhaps Jan Couto won't be a Manchester City player come the end of the summer and possibly permanently move away from the club. And that same goes for another right back, so 4 right backs in the squad. We're looking for a right back, yet 3 look to be moved on. In Issa Kabore, the 22-year-old City look to make profit on the former Luton Town loanee. 55 number on his shirt, and he won't be part of the squad. He wasn't even part of the pre-season tournament. Onto the midfield, we've got holding midfield, we've got Jacob Wright, a 66 rated young midfielder, described as a Jorginho type player, and perhaps he can be the Jorginho for our side. Calvin Phillips, who's on the transfer list, I have no intention of Calvin Phillips making a return to the squad. Calvin Phillips needs to go, and I intend to replace Calvin Phillips in the Manchester City squad without a doubt. He will be going, he will not be part of this side. Things didn't work out for him at Manchester City. Pep Guardiola himself said he did not envision, Calvin Phillips being part of his side, being in his squad, being in his team, and that tells you where he needs to. He had a failed loan with West Ham as well. We're going to try and get whatever money we can for him. The highest rated player in the squad, we've upgraded him to 91 rated. Rodri is our highest rated player, 91 rated. I think he deserves to be that. He could win the Ballon d'Or this season. Absolutely insane footballer, and he is key to everything we will achieve in this reboot career mode. Another young midfielder with Mahamadou Sissoko, the Spaniard, 65 rated, a little bit lower than Jacob Wright, a little bit of a different player, a bit more of a physical one, wants to get on the ball and make a tackle. We'll see what happens with him, whether a low move is right for him this season, whether we keep him around in the squad. On to more central midfield roles, we've got Mateo Kovacic, 83 rated. I think he'll be sticking around. We haven't blocked offers on Mateo Kovacic, but the plan is to keep him around in the squad. He's a very good versatile player in terms of midfield. He can play holding midfield, central midfield, attacking midfield, and I think we do need him in the squad. One player whose future is uncertain is Matheus Nunes. We've not got him on the transfer list. He's only in his mid-20s. 78 rated, downgrade, and he looks like he needs to be moved on, really. And I think, really, in this reboot career mode, I don't know if I'm going to give Matheus Nunes a chance. I think when it comes to if we sign a backup midfielder for Rodri or holding midfielder to play alongside Rodri, that would spell the end of Matheus Nunes' time at Manchester City. Maximo Piron, who is going to be used in pre-season, hopefully can be very impressive for us in the pre-season tournament. We're looking to try and get him out on loan somewhere, move him out on loan. Rico Lewis, he is a 76 rated Rico Lewis, and he is a player that we've moved into central midfielder. I don't see his future at right back. We'll have to see how he plays in pre-season at that right back position, but I do believe we keep him as a central midfielder. Pep seems to like him there, and maybe in the more attacking role at times playing for the club this season. Downgraded to 90 rated, we've got Kevin De Bruyne, just by 1. He wasn't Kevin De Bruyne last season. Of course, he spent a lot of time injured, but he's still going to be a key player for this side, and hopefully we can keep him out of the clutch of Saudi Arabia. An 88 rated Phil Foden, a big upgrade for a man who was City's key man last season, player of the season in the Premier League, and he can play out wide, but we want him to play in central areas this season. That is where his future lies, playing centrally for Manchester City, and the plan is to play him as centrally as possible. James McAtee, we will sort of value this man over pre-season and see how he does for the team, whether he stays at the club or whether he goes out on loan again. He is loan listed currently. He will be going on the pre-season tour, but I'm not entirely sure over his future. A player who's currently already out on loan and won't be playing for us until the January of this season, where he will join the club, is Claudio Echeverri, 17 years of age and already 76 rated, already developing at River Plate. I am very excited to see what he could do at Manchester City over the following seasons, and I'm very excited for him to join back up with the club in the January time and then see what he can do for Manchester City. We've got Nico Riley, a youngster who needs a contract negotiation. Really, he's going to stay at the club. 18, 19 years of age, 12 months remaining in this contract, but one we're going to value in pre-season. And the same goes for Joel Ndala. He will also be evaluated in pre-season to see what is best for this young man's development, whether it is a move away from the club on loan, whether it's a permanent move if someone comes in with a big offer for him, or whether he really impresses in pre-season. Pep Guardiola says, listen, this is the young man, like Oscar Bob or previous years, to just start getting a bit of game time and break through into the Manchester City first team. Another wide player, we've got a youngster in Micah Hamilton. The idea is to renew this young man's contract and loan him out and let him get a bit of game time and see how he develops in maybe a championship side. He's not quite ready for Manchester City football. We've got a player who's looking to come back to his best this season. He's been downgraded to 83 rated. Jack Grealish was poor last year for Manchester City, was injured a lot of time, and when he did play, he wasn't impressive at all. But he's been working very hard going into pre-season, and it's a big season for Jack Grealish. If he doesn't have a good year for us, then even if Pep Guardiola stays or leaves, I think the manager will be looking to move Jack Grealish on. We're going to try and play him a bit more centrally at times this season, but he's going to be important to this Manchester City side. Jeremy Doku, 21 years of age, an exciting prospect. This guy is electric, upgrade to 82 rated. So pacey, so electric, so explosive in the way he plays. He's going to play a big part this season at left-hand side and on the right-hand side as well. Versatile in playing in the wide areas. And I'm excited to see how he does for us this year. We've got Bernardo Silva, who has been expected to leave Manchester City for year on year now. And every time, Bernardo Silva just seems to stick around and be a Manchester City player. The 28-year-old, 29-year-old, getting on in his career now, has a £50 million release clause in his contract. We have put that in his contract in this game mode, in this reboot. And perhaps we see someone come in and say, listen, we want to offer big money for Bernardo Silva, 50 million. I don't see it. I think he's staying at City again this summer. And then when he gets down to 1 year next season, or, you know, might go to the end of his contract before he decides to move maybe back to Portugal with Benfica. But if not, then I see maybe a sign like a PSG, a Barcelona moving for him. But at the moment, I mean, Barcelona and PSG seem to be pretty much situated on other transfer targets. A new signing is Savio or Savinho, 82 rated, big upgrade for one of the players of the season last year in La Liga. He is going to be a spectacular player for this Manchester City side. I'm so excited with what he can do wearing that number 26 shirt, and I think he's going to play a big part in this reboot career mode. Also on the right hand side, but can play centrally, is Norwegian Oscar Bob. Broke through into the Manchester City first team last year, and our intention is to continue to have Oscar Bob break through into the first team, play even more football this year, upgrade to 75, and I'm hoping he can play a big part in the season this year. That is the plan for Oscar Bob. I'm very excited for what he can do. We've got Julian Alvarez, 83 rated. His future uncertain at Manchester City, and if we see a big offer come in for the Argentinian who wants to leave perhaps Manchester City, we'll know more about that as the episodes go on. Then we could see him move away from the club, and maybe we have to go into the transfer market for another attacking midfielder, or maybe we just don't replace him at all. We replace a midfielder, go for someone else in the future, maybe a false nine. Oscar Bob can play at striker, Savio, Bernardo Silva. That is a situation we need to keep an eye on. And a downgrade for our striking Viking Erling Haaland, down to 89 rating. He had a bit of a poor season last year for Manchester City, still scored 30 goals, but I think 89 is fair. At only 22, 23 years of age, he's going to grow and develop, and he's going to be the key man in this Manchester City side. And I'm very excited about that. Now, we haven't got into pre-season yet. We haven't seen how that is going to go, but we do have some players that are going to be out on loan, that after the pre-season will be confirmed on loan. And those players are these as follows. Colin Doyle, he will be, after the pre-season tour, joining Norwich City on loan for the season. That has been agreed, so he'll be part of the pre-season tour. And off he moves, 74 rated. Could he be part of another promotion in the Premier League? Tom Galvez, he has moved to Austria at the Finnish international with LASK. I'm hoping for a good season for him, the young fullback, and perhaps one for the future of this Manchester City side. Only very young, but got lots of potential. A very versatile fullback who's very, very good at drifting into midfield, playing in wide areas as well, technically very gifted. A 70 rated and Cardiff City midfielder Alex Robertson, the Australian, is playing there. He'll be on loan for the remainder of the season after the pre-season tour, and again, a chance for him to impress. And he's got a lot of development to go, and a lot of exciting development that could be in his season. And then finally, a player out on loan is Kayiki, a forgotten man really, after an ACL injury while playing for Bahia. We are hoping that Kayiki can develop as a footballer at Utrecht in the Eredivisie, in the Dutch league, and sort of take a sort of career path we saw with Savio. Move to the Dutch league initially, play on loan there, find his feet in the Dutch league. Savio played for PSV Eindhoven, and then move to maybe Spain or somewhere else, and that's where we could really develop Kayiki further on loan. But for a moment, the 66 rated 20-year-old is playing at Utrecht, and he needs a big season if he's going to develop and make it into this Manchester City first team. Now, with the squad how it stands, if I had to pick my squad for the season, my starting 11 for the season, I think it would look something like this, with perhaps a few little changes here and there if it was totally up to me, if I could make those changes, or what the right changes were. I'm going to go something like this, I think, for the season, of course, without transfers as it stands. Edison, our starting goalkeeper. I want Akanji to play as our starting right back with Ruben Diaz and Nathan Ake and Joško Vardiol, that back four. Maybe that'll change. Maybe we sign a right back if Kyle Walker leaves. Maybe we sign a new left back. I'm not exactly sure. But this is what I think is our strongest starting 11 as things stands in a 4-2-3 formation. Roderick, Kevin De Bruyne and Bernardo Silva as our midfield three. I currently believe that is our strongest starting midfield, with Phil Foden on the left drifting inside, with Vardiol drifting into those wide areas. Savio or Jeremy Doku starting on the right hand side. Of course, it could be Bernardo on the right and Kovacic in that midfield role. That's initially how we had it. And then Erling Haaland at striker, of course. That is, I think, on paper, our strongest starting 11, rating-wise, squad-wise, so it currently stands. Then on the bench, Alvarez as a backup striker, Doku and Grealish who can play in the wide areas and centrally, as well as Mateo Kovacic, and then Walker who can play at fullback, Stones who can play centrally, and Stefan Ortega as our goalkeeper. I do believe that is our strongest squad, with the reserves looking like this: Scott Carson, Rico Lewis, Mateus Nunes, and Oscar Bob. I don't intend for the squad to get any bigger than this. Savio replaces Sergio Gomez, and this is as big as the squad gets. So if we are to bring in a new right back, a new left back perhaps, a new midfielder, then we are going to have to sell players, perhaps maybe move someone on to do that. And our reserves for this season will be Joel Ndala, Micah Hamilton, Nico O'Reilly and Jacob Wright. They're the 4 youth players I've decided to keep as the reserves for this season. Now, if we were to see Hamilton leave on loan, or O'Reilly leave on loan, then perhaps that's 2 more spaces open up for a younger player, perhaps someone else to be included in the squad in somewhere, perhaps a new left back to back up Vardio, a new right back to back up Akanji and Walker if Kyle Walker left, a midfielder of course if we were to look for a holding midfielder who can play the Rodri role, because that is pretty key. That is the big thing we're going to be looking for, and maybe even a striker if Flynn Alvarez leaves. But other than that, I am pretty happy with the squad. We will tweak the tactics, the formations, depending on who we're playing. This is just how it's looking right now, and we will go through all the different variation tactics, of course, during games. I think when we go into a game, we'll look at the opposition, how they line up, and we'll say, listen, this time we're going to play a back 3, we're going to play a back 2, we're going to play a back 4. We will adapt things like Pep Guardiola does in real life, depending on the formation. Well, that is the squad going into the reboot career mode, and of course the transfer window is open, and we could still make some big moves in the transfer window. Savio might not be just the only new man in the squad. Thank you for watching, everyone. This is just the start of career mode. 5 episodes a week are coming, so shorter episodes, but more action throughout the week for you guys to enjoy. This is just the squad. All the transfer targets that are going to be looked at are in the next episode. Thank you for watching. Please like the video if you haven't already. Please do subscribe to the channel if you are new. It makes a massive difference to this channel. I am so excited about this series. It's just getting going. The ball has just started rolling. And we'll see you all next time.